Captain Deho stood at the back of the council chamber and watched the aliens talk about his people like they were children. He kept his face calm. He had practiced this face for 10 years now. Every insult, every joke, every dismissive wave of a claw or tentacle, he absorbed it all with the same blank expression. Ambassador. G1 sat at the human table far from the center of the room. The table was small. It was always small. The humans were given one chair while the other species had delegations of 20 or more. G1 was alone except for her datapad and a glass of water. She did not look angry. She never looked angry. Deho admired that about her. The matter is simple, Counselor Vrath said from his elevated platform. His scales shimmered under the chamber lights. He was a Catharian, a species that had conquered 40 worlds before humans even learned to make fire. The human colonies in the Outer Rim are underdeveloped. They waste valuable resources. We propose transferring administrative control to species better equipped to manage them. Deho felt his jaw tighten. He forced it to relax. Transfer administrative control. Such clean words for stealing entire worlds. High Arbiter Quelix clicked his mandibles together. The sound echoed through the chamber. The proposal has merit. Humanity has held these worlds for 90 years and accomplished little. The Vexorians can triple resource output within a decade. One raised her hand. She had to raise her hand like a student in a classroom. Full council members could simply speak. Humans were not full members. They had never been granted full membership. Quelix looked at her for a long moment before nodding. We have built communities on those worlds, Ji-1 said. Her voice was steady. There are 18 million humans living on those 12 colonies. They have homes, families, lives. You cannot simply reassign them like cargo. A ripple of clicking and hissing moved through the chamber. Several species were laughing. Your people can relocate, Vrath said. We will provide transport ships. Standard relocation protocol. This is more than generous. Our people were born on those worlds, Ji-1 replied. Some families have been there for 4 generations. 4 generations. Vrath leaned back in his seat. My species has held our core worlds for 4,000 generations. Your attachment is ... brief. More laughter. Deho counted the species that laughed. He memorized which ones found this funny. His hands remained clasped behind his back. I must vote against this proposal, Ji-1 said. Noted, Quelix said. Your objection is recorded. We will now proceed to the vote. The vote took less than 5 minutes. Every species raised their approval. The holographic display showed the results in glowing numbers. 42 species in favor. 0 against. 1 partial vote rejected. The human vote did not carry enough weight to register as opposition. The motion passes, Quelix announced. The Outer Rim colonies will be transferred to Vexorian administration within 6 standard months. Humanity will be compensated according to standard resource valuation tables. One stood. May I speak? Quelix's mandibles twitched with irritation. You may submit a formal protest in writing. This council has other matters to address. I simply want to ensure, Ji-1 said slowly, that this decision is final. That there will be no reconsideration. The council has spoken, Vrath said. Accept this with dignity, Ambassador. Your species is young. You will learn that the galaxy operates on principles of efficiency. Sentiment has no place in governance. One nodded once. She gathered her datapad and walked toward the exit. Deho fell into step behind her. As they passed through the towering doorway, he heard Vrath say something to the Vexorian delegate. The words were quiet but designed to carry. Now they can focus on what humans do best. Serving drinks and cleaning floors on our stations. The laughter followed them into the corridor. They walked in silence for several minutes. The council station was massive, a structure the size of a small moon. It took 20 minutes to reach the human quarters, even using the transport tubes. Only when they were alone in their secured office did Ji-1 finally let her shoulders sag. Are you recording? She asked. Deho tapped the device on his collar. Everything. Full audio and visual. Transmitted and backed up to 3 secure locations. Good. One sat down heavily. Added to the file. That makes 347 major incidents, Deho said. He pulled up the database on the wall screen. And over 10,000 minor ones. We have documentation going back 212 years. One stared at the screen. The list was long. Very long. Each entry was a moment when humanity had been dismissed, insulted, or exploited. Trade deals broken. Technology stolen. Ships seized. Citizens arrested on false charges. Every incident carefully recorded. Every detail preserved. Do you think they know? Yuan asked quietly. That we have been watching? Documenting everything? Deho smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. They think we are too stupid to keep records. They think we are too weak to care? They are wrong? Yes, they are. Yuan opened a secure communication channel. The encryption was military grade, far beyond what the Council believed humans possessed. She typed a brief message. The message was simple. Vote concluded. 12 colonies to be seized. Request guidance. The response came within 30 seconds. It was even simpler. Continue observing. Maintain protocol. One closed the channel. How much longer do you think we wait? I do not know, Deho said. But it will not be forever. It cannot be forever. He looked at the database again. 3 centuries of patience. 3 centuries of absorbing insults and theft and casual cruelty. The galaxy thought humanity was weak. They thought humans would simply bend and accept whatever the stronger species decided. They had no idea what humanity had been building while they laughed. They had no idea that every slow, outdated human ship they mocked was exactly as slow and outdated as humans wanted them to believe. They had no idea that humanity's greatest weapon was not technology or numbers. It was patience. The ability to endure, to wait, to watch. To remember. And humanity had a very, very long memory. Deho shut down the display. Ambassador, when the time comes, One interrupted. They will learn what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. They will learn what humanity becomes when we stop being patient. She stood and looked out the window at the vast council station. Thousands of species. Millions of beings. All convinced of their superiority. All certain that humans were just another minor species to be managed and controlled. They will remember that day, G1 said softly. Every species in this galaxy will remember. Deho nodded. Yes, they will. Outside, the council continued its business. Inside the human quarters, 2 people prepared for something the galaxy could not. Yet imagine the moment when humanity's patience would finally break. The ships arrived at Hanseong Colony on a Tuesday morning. 12 massive vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel and hung in the sky like dark clouds. They were Catharian warships, crude and brutal in design. They did not bother with communication. They simply descended. Colonel Young-Sik watched from the Colonial Defense headquarters as the ships landed at the main spaceport. His orders from Earth Command had been clear. Do not engage. Do not resist. Comply with Council directives. Protect civilian lives above all else. He hated those orders. Every fiber of his being screamed to fight. But he was a soldier. He followed orders. Colonel, they are deploying troops, his communications officer said. Her name was Yunha. She was 23 years old and had never seen combat. Her hands shook as she monitored the displays. I see them, Young-Sik said calmly. All defense units stand down. Weapons offline. Make no threatening moves. Sir, those are the orders, Lieutenant. On the screens, Catharian soldiers poured from the ships. They were huge creatures, nearly 3 meters tall, covered in armored scales. They carried plasma weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. There were thousands of them. Commander Thex led the force. Young-Sik had read the files on him. Thex had commanded occupation forces on 6 other worlds. His record included 43 civilian casualties across those occupations. The council had never punished him. Casualties were acceptable during military operations. According to council law, young Sikh wondered if Vex knew that humans kept very different kinds of records. In the research facility beneath the colony's northern mountains, Dr. Hyjin was destroying data. Not all of it. Just the sensitive parts. The parts that the galaxy could not be allowed to see? Not yet. Her team worked quickly and quietly. They had practiced this. Everyone knew what to do. How long until they reach us? Her assistant asked. His name was Dong Hyan. He was a physicist who specialized in propulsion systems. Systems that were decades ahead of anything the council thought humans possessed. 6 hours, Hyjin said. Maybe 8 if they do not know about this facility. They will find it eventually. Yes, but by then, everything important will be gone. She initiated another secure wipe. The dummy data is in place. Let them find that. Let them think we are primitive. Dong Hyan smiled grimly. They already think that, then let us not disappoint them. In the colony's main city, Governor Minsu was meeting with X. The Catharian commander stood in the governor's office like a monument to violence. His scales were scarred from dozens of battles. His eyes were cold and reptilian. Your people will be relocated within 3 months, Dex said. He did not sit. He simply stood there, dominating the space. You will compile a complete census. Every human. Every structure. Every resource. My staff will review everything. Minsu kept his voice level. This is our home. These people have lived here for 90 years. This is council territory now, Dex corrected. Your species failed to develop it properly. We will fix that. May I ask what will happen to our homes? Our buildings? Dex shrugged. Demolished, most likely. We will need the space for proper infrastructure. Minsu felt something cold settle in his chest. I see. You should be grateful, Dex continued. The council is providing transport ships. Housing at your destination. Many species would simply exterminate a population this size rather than relocate it. How kind. Dex's eyes narrowed. You have sarcasm. I suggest you lose it. Humans who cause problems during transitions tend to have accidents. Minsu said nothing. He simply nodded. The occupation proceeded quickly. Catharian soldiers spread through the colony. They set up checkpoints. They began cataloging resources. They treated the humans like obstacles to be managed. On the 3rd day, they started forcing people from their homes in the Eastern District. Families were given 1 hour to pack their belongings. 1 hour to gather a lifetime of possessions. Many could not do it. They tried to argue. They tried to explain. The Catharian soldiers had no patience for explanations. It happened in the main square. A crowd had gathered, protesting the forced relocations. They were not violent. They simply stood there, holding signs, chanting peacefully. There were about 200 humans. Men, women, children. Vex ordered them to disperse. They did not disperse fast enough. He gave the order to use force. The soldiers moved in with shock batons and gas grenades. The crowd panicked. People ran in all directions. Parents grabbed their children. The elderly fell and were trampled in the chaos. A girl named Miran was separated from her mother. She was 8 years old. She had dark hair in 2 braids and wore a blue dress with white flowers. She was crying and calling for her mother. A Catharian soldier tried to push her aside. She stumbled and fell in front of him. He did not see her. Or perhaps he did not care. His boot came down on her small body. The sound echoed across the square. Miran stopped moving. Her mother's scream cut through the chaos like a knife. She ran to her daughter and fell to her knees. She gathered the small broken body in her arms. Blood stained the blue dress. The crowd went silent. Every human in the square stopped and stared. The Catharian soldiers looked uncomfortable. Even they seemed to understand that something terrible had just happened. Dex pushed through the crowd. He looked at the dead child. He looked at the crying mother. His expression did not change. Unfortunate, he said, but acceptable. Casualties occur during crowd control. The mother should have maintained better supervision of her offspring. Young Sik heard about it within minutes. He was in his office when Yunha burst in, tears streaming down her face. Colonel, they killed a child. They killed Mira. She was in my sister's school class. She was 8 years old. Young Sik felt something break inside him. Or perhaps it was something snapping into place. He had been a soldier for 32 years. He had fought in 3 wars. He had seen death and horror and cruelty. But this was different. This was a child killed for the crime of being in the wrong place. Killed by occupiers who faced no consequences, he opened a secure channel to Earth Command. This is Colonel Young Sik Choi, Hanseong Colony, requesting permission to respond to hostile action. The response was immediate. Negative. Maintain current posture. Comply with occupation directives. They killed a child, Command. We know. Stand down, Colonel. That is an order. Young Sik closed the channel. His hands were shaking. For the first time in his career, he wanted to disobey a direct order. He wanted to activate his defense forces and drive these monsters off his world, but he was a soldier. He followed orders. Even when it destroyed him, Dr. Haijin sent an encrypted message to Earth on the quantum channel. The message was 3 words. Is it time? The response took 8 hours. 8 hours while Haijin waited. 8 hours while the colony mourned a dead child. 8 hours while the X filed a report classifying Miron's death as an acceptable casualty of occupation operations. The response finally came. Not yet. Soon. Be ready. Governor Minsu made a decision. He went to the colony's main broadcast station. He overrode the Catharian communications lockdown using codes that should not have existed. Codes that proved humans had far better technology than anyone suspected, he broadcast to every human world. All 47 colonies. All the stations and ships. Every human in the galaxy heard his voice. This is Governor Minsu Han of Hanseong Colony. Today, an 8-year-old girl named Miran was killed by occupation forces. She was guilty of nothing except being human. She died because the galaxy believes we are weak. Because the Council believes we will accept anything they do to us. He paused. He let the silence stretch. They are wrong. We have been patient. We have endured. We have waited for 300 years, hoping the galaxy would see us as equals. Today that patience ends. To every human listening, remember Miran. Remember this moment. Remember what they think of us. He closed the broadcast. Within seconds, Catharian soldiers broke down the door. They arrested him. Vex had him thrown into a detention cell, but the message had been sent. Every human had heard it. And embedded in that message, hidden in the audio file, was a code. A code that every human military installation recognized. The code meant, stand ready. Prepare for activation. Wait for final authorization. In his cell, Minsu smiled. He had done his part. The rest was up to others. Above Hanseong, in orbit where no one was watching, tiny objects began to move. They had been there for decades, positioned carefully, waiting. They were human machines, invisible to any scanner the Council possessed. They were waking up. Admiral Sun Hee sat in her command chair and watched the holographic displays. Around her, the bridge of the warship Indomitable hummed with quiet activity. 200 officers worked at their stations. Every one of them knew what was coming. They had been preparing for this moment for 20 years. The ship itself was invisible to the galaxy. It hung in deep space between stars in a region marked on all Council charts as empty void. It was not empty. There were 3,000 ships here. 3,000 warships that the Council did not know existed. Admiral, we have received the authorization code, her communications officer said. His name was Jin Ho. He had gray hair and steady hands. Presidential command override. Full activation. Sun Hee nodded slowly. Confirm the code. Confirmed, Admiral. Code is authentic. President Taeyang has authorized Operation Broken Chain. Send acknowledgement. Begin fleet activation sequence. All ships to combat readiness. Around her the bridge came alive. Officers spoke in quick, efficient voices. Systems powered up. Weapons initialized. The Indomitable shuddered as its primary engines engaged for the first time in 5 years. On Earth, President Taeyang stood before every camera humanity possessed. His broadcast went to every human world, every colony, every station. But it also went beyond. He had ordered it transmitted on all open council frequencies. Every species would hear this. "I am President Taeyang Ro of Earth," he began. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "I speak today not just to humans but to every species in the galaxy. For 300 years, humanity has been part of the Galactic Council. For 300 years, we have tried to earn your respect through patience and cooperation." He paused. His expression hardened. "For 300 years, you have treated us as inferior. You have stolen our resources. You have broken treaties. You have insulted our people and occupied our worlds. We have absorbed every injustice. We have documented every crime. We have waited for you to recognize us as equals." Another pause. "Yesterday, on Hanseon Colony, your soldiers killed an 8-year-old girl named Miran. They killed her for the crime of being in the wrong place. They called her death acceptable. The Council will not punish those responsible. The Council considers this matter closed." Taeyang leaned forward. His eyes were hard as stone. Humanity does not. At the Council station, Captain Daeho stood and walked to the center of the chamber. He had not been recognized by the High Arbiter. He did not care. Every delegate turned to look at him. Some with annoyance. Some with curiosity. What is the meaning of this? Quelix demanded, "You have not been granted permission to speak." "I do not require permission," Daeho said quietly. "Not anymore." Councillor Vreth laughed. "The human forgets his place. Security, remove him." "I would not do that," Daeho said. He tapped his datapad. Every screen in the chamber flickered. The Council's own displays were hijacked. "I have something to show you." On the screens, images appeared. Ships, thousands of ships. Human ships, sleek and deadly, materializing from nothing. They appeared above Council homeworlds. Above major stations. Above military installations. Everywhere, all at once, the chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted. Some tried to leave. Some demanded explanations. Dae-Ho stood calmly in the center of it all. "For 200 years, he said, his voice cutting through the noise, "you have mocked our slow ships, our primitive technology, our weak military. You believed what we wanted you to believe." On the screens, the images continued. Human vessels that defied every principle of physics the Council understood. Weapons that made Council technology look like stone tools. "We have been studying you," Daeho continued. "Every species, every weakness, every system, every world. While you laughed at us, we learned everything about you. While you stole from us, we prepared for this moment." He tapped his datapad again. The screens changed. They showed recordings. Hundreds of recordings. Incidents spanning centuries. Every broken treaty. Every theft. Every insult. Every act of violence. All documented. All preserved. "This is 300 years of patience," Daeho said. "This is 300 years of human restraint. It ends today." Quelix had recovered from his shock. His mandibles clicked rapidly. "This is an act of war. The Council will crush. You will do nothing," Daeho interrupted. "Because if you try, we will do what we should have done decades ago. We will show you what humans become when we stop being patient." Director Kyungmin watched from Earth's military command center. Her screens showed every Council military installation in real time. Human intelligence assets were everywhere. Always had been. The Council had never suspected how deeply humanity had infiltrated their systems. "Ma'am, we have positive target locks on all primary installations," her tactical officer reported. Hold position, Kyung-min said. Let them see what we can do. Let them understand. She opened a channel to Admiral Sun-hee. Admiral, you are cleared for demonstration. Target the Council's military depot at Vexor. Make it impressive. Understood, Director. In space above the Vexorian homeworld, 3 human warships appeared. They simply materialized as if they had always been there. The Vexorian defense fleet scrambled. 40 warships moved to engage. The humans did not fire. They simply waited. The Vexorian ships opened fire with everything they had. Plasma torpedoes, kinetic slugs, energy beams. Enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. The human ship's shields absorbed everything. Every shot, every missile. The energy simply disappeared into the barrier, leaving the human vessels untouched. Then the humans fired back. 3 shots. Perfectly aimed. 3 Vexorian ships were cut in half. Not destroyed. Cut in half. The precision was surgical. The remaining Vexorian fleet stopped. They hung in space, uncertain, terrified. One of the human ships transmitted a message. Stand down. We have demonstrated our capability. We can destroy you. We choose not to. Stand down. The Vexorian fleet withdrew across the galaxy. Similar demonstrations played out. At every major military installation, human ships appeared. At every council stronghold, humanity showed just enough power to make the point clear. We can defeat you. Easily. We choose not to. Yet. President Taeyang's broadcast continued. The Galactic Council will immediately return all human colonies to human control. All occupation forces will withdraw within 72 hours. All human citizens currently detained by Council authorities will be released unharmed. He paused. If these demands are not met, humanity will take action. We do not wish to destroy. We do not wish to kill. But we will protect our people. We will defend our worlds. And if you force us to war, you will learn what humanity is truly capable of. At the council station, Ambassador Ji-won appeared beside Daeho. She had been waiting in the human quarters. Now she walked to the center of the chamber. We gave you 300 years, she said softly. 300 years of patience. 300 years of trying to be your equals. You rejected us. You mocked us. You stole from us. You killed our children. She looked around at all the alien faces. Some showed fear. Some showed anger. Many showed nothing but shock. This is not revenge, one continued. This is justice. You will return what you have taken. You will answer for your crimes. You will recognize humanity as an equal power in this galaxy. And if we refuse? Wrath demanded. His voice was shaking. Then we stop being patient, one said simply. And you discover what happens when humans decide that cooperation has failed. Director Kyung-min gave the next order. Activate the orbital platforms. Around every major council world, human weapons platforms powered up. They had been there for decades, invisible, waiting. Now they revealed themselves. Hundreds of platforms. Thousands of weapons. All aimed at the populations below. The message was clear. We could have destroyed you at any time. We chose not to. Remember that mercy? Admiral Sun-hee addressed her fleet. All ships maintain position. No hostile action unless authorized. We are here to demonstrate strength, not to start a war. But if they force our hand, we finish it, Jin-ho completed quietly. Yes, Sun-hee agreed. We finish it. The galaxy held its breath. 3,000 human warships. Countless weapons platforms. Technology that outclassed everything the Council possessed. All of it appearing in a single day. The Council species had thought humans were weak. They had thought humans would simply accept whatever was done to them. They had thought patience was the same as powerlessness. They were learning the truth on Hanseon Colony. Colonel Young-sik received new orders. These orders were very different from before. All units, full activation. Defensive positions. If the Catharians do not begin withdrawal within 12 hours, you are authorized to use any force necessary to remove them. Non-lethal methods preferred. But defend the colony. Young Sikh smiled for the first time in days. You heard the order. Get ready to take our home back? In his cell, Governor Minsu heard the sounds of confusion above. Catharian soldiers running. Officers shouting. The entire occupation force in chaos. He closed his eyes and thought of Marin. 8 years old. Dead because the galaxy thought humans were nothing. They are learning, he whispered. They are finally learning. Commander Thex stood in his command center and watched his world fall apart. The screens showed human warships appearing everywhere. Above the colony. In orbit. Some were simply hovering over the city, visible to everyone below. They had appeared from nowhere like ghosts materializing into reality. Get me a status report, Thex barked at his officers. Where is our fleet? Where is our support? Sir, the homeworld reports all military assets are occupied, one officer replied. His scales were pale with fear. Human ships are above Catharia Prime. They have weapons locked on the planetary defense grid. Command orders us to stand down? Stand down? Lex's roar shook the room. We are occupation forces. We have a mandate from the Council. The Council has rescinded the mandate, sir. All colonies are to be returned to human control. We have 72 hours to evacuate. Lex wanted to refuse. He wanted to fight. But he had seen the recordings. Every Catharian had seen them by now. The human ships. The weapons. The demonstration at Vexor where 3 human vessels had destroyed half a fleet without even trying, his communicator chimed. It was a direct transmission from the human colonial defense commander. Vex accepted it. Colonel Young Sik's face appeared on the screen. His expression was cold and hard. Commander Vex, this is your only warning. You have 12 hours to begin withdrawal. You will release Governor Minsu immediately. You will remove your forces from all civilian areas. You will prepare for departure. And if I refuse? Vex challenged. Then we remove you by force. Young Sik's voice was utterly calm. I have been authorized to use any methods necessary. We prefer non-lethal. But if you resist, I am permitted to switch to lethal force. Your choice. Vex looked at the screens again. He counted 15 human warships visible from his position. There were probably more he could not see. His entire occupation force was 4,000 soldiers. Good soldiers. But they had plasma rifles and light armor. The humans had ships that could turn mountains into glass. You killed a child, Young Sik said quietly. An 8-year-old girl named Miran. You called it acceptable. I am giving you a chance to leave peacefully. More of a chance than you gave her. Vex felt something he had not experienced in decades, fear. I will begin withdrawal procedures. You have 12 hours, Young Sik repeated. If you are still here after that, we come for you. The transmission ended. Vex gave the orders. His forces began packing up. They moved quickly, frantically. Every soldier had heard the stories now. The humans had been hiding their true power for centuries. They had technology that made Council weapons look primitive. And they were angry. Very, very angry. At the Council station. The emergency session had been going for 6 hours. Every major species had sent representatives. The chamber was packed. Everyone was shouting. Ambassador G1 sat quietly at the human table. Captain Deho stood beside her. Neither of them spoke. They simply waited. High Arbiter Quelix finally managed to restore order. The Council demands an explanation. This is an act of aggression. This is justice, one interrupted. She stood. Her voice was not loud, but every being in the chamber went silent. For 300 years you have treated us as inferior. We have documentation of every incident, every theft, every insult, every act of violence. Would you like me to present the evidence? She tapped her datapad. The screens filled with files. Thousands of files. Millions of documented incidents. This is what patience looks like, the one said. This is 300 years of restraint. of trying to work within your system, of hoping you would eventually treat us fairly. She looked around the chamber. You killed our children. You stole our worlds. You broke every agreement you made with us. And you did it because you thought we were weak. You thought we would simply accept it? We followed council law, Vroth protested weakly. Your law is designed to benefit the strong and crush the weak, Deho said. We know, we studied it. We found every flaw, every loophole, every injustice. We could have challenged it through legal means. But your courts always rule in favor of council species over humans. We have records of that too. One pulled up another file. This is Commander Thex's service record. 43 civilian casualties across 6 occupations. 0 punishments. 0 consequences. He killed a child on Han Seong and filed a report calling it acceptable. She let that hang in the air. So we stopped relying on your justice. We built our own power. And now you will face real consequences. Admiral Sun Hee coordinated the operation from her flagship. The fleet was moving now. Human ships jumping into position above every occupied colony. Above every contested territory. Above every location where humans had been pushed out by council decree. Admiral, all fleets report ready, Jinho said. We have complete tactical superiority in all theaters. Good, begin Operation Liberation. Non-lethal methods preferred. But defend any colony that faces resistance. At Hansang, the Catharian withdrawal was proceeding. Thex's forces loaded their equipment onto transports. Soldiers moved quickly through the streets, heading for their ships. The colonists watched in silence. Some wept, some cheered. Most simply stood there, still processing what was happening. Young Sik sent his teams to secure the key locations. The spaceport. The government buildings. The detention center where Governor Minsu was held. The rescue team reached the detention center within minutes. They breached the doors with precision tools. No shots fired. No violence. They simply walked in, overwhelmed the guards with stunning weapons, and opened the cells. Minsu walked out into the sunlight. He was thin and bruised from his brief imprisonment. But he was smiling. Governor, Young Sik said, your colony is being returned to your control. I heard, Minsu replied. The broadcast reached even the cells. President Taeyang's speech was ... impressive. It was necessary. Yes, it was. Minsu looked toward the spaceport where the Catharian ships were launching. Thex, leaving within the hour? He accepted the terms. Good, I want to see him gone. I want every one of them gone. The Catharian withdrawal took 8 hours. By the end, every soldier, every officer, every piece of their equipment was packed and loaded. The ships lifted off and disappeared into orbit. Hansang was free. Young Sik stood in the main square. The same square where Mirren had died. Colonists gathered around. They looked to him for guidance. Today we reclaim our home, he said simply. Today humanity stops accepting injustice. Today we stand as equals in this galaxy. The crowd erupted in cheers. People embraced. Some cried. Some laughed. The relief was overwhelming. But Young Sik did not celebrate. He thought of Mehran. He thought of the price that had been paid. One child's death had been the final straw. The moment that broke humanity's patience, he would make sure no one forgot her. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. 12 colonies. 12 occupations ending. Some peacefully like Hansang. Some requiring more persuasion. At Bizan Colony, the occupying Vixorians tried to resist. They fortified their positions and refused to leave. Strike Commander Jae Sung led the response team. His unit materialized directly inside the Vixorian command center using teleportation technology the Council did not know existed. They appeared in the middle of the command room, weapons ready. The Vixorians reached for their arms. Jae Sung's team was faster. Stunning pulses dropped every Vixorian officer in 3 seconds. No one died. No one was even injured. They simply fell unconscious. Secure them, Josung ordered. Prepare for mass teleportation. We are removing the entire occupation force. Within an hour, every Vexorian soldier on Bizan colony was teleported to their ships. They woke up in their own vessel, in orbit, with a simple message playing on repeat: "Leave now. Do not return." The Vexorian fleet departed immediately. At the council station, the debates continued. Species argued about how to respond. Some wanted war. Some wanted negotiation. Some simply wanted to avoid provoking humanity further. Councillor Vrath had been silent for hours. Finally he spoke. "We underestimated them. We thought they were weak. We were fools. What do you propose?" Quelix asked. "We accept their terms. All of them. We return the colonies. We release their citizens. We acknowledge them as equals." Vrath's scales had lost their shimmer. "And we pray they are merciful." "You would have us surrender to these primitives?" A Vexorian delegate demanded. "They are not primitives," Vrath said tiredly. "They never were. They simply let us believe it. And we were stupid enough to believe." Admiral Sunhee received reports from every theater. All colonies secured. All occupying forces withdrawing or removed. 0 human casualties. Minimal alien casualties, mostly stunning injuries and wounded pride. "Admiral, the operation is complete," Jinho reported. "All human territories are back under human control." "Good. Maintain fleet positions." "We are not done yet, ma'am?" "The war crimes trials?" Sunhee said grimly. "Vex and others like him. They will answer for what they did." "The Council may accept casualties." "We do not." On Earth, President Taeyang prepared his next broadcast. This one would be different. The show of force was complete. The colonies were secured. Now came the harder part, making the galaxy understand that this changed everything. That humanity was no longer a minor species to be managed. That there would be justice for 300 years of injustices, and that if anyone ever harmed a human child again. The council chamber had been rebuilt. Not repaired, rebuilt. The old one had been designed to put humans in their place. Small table. Back corner. Distant from power. That chamber was gone now. The new chamber was on Earth, in Geneva, where humanity wanted it. President Taeyang stood at the podium and looked at the assembled delegates. Every major species had sent representatives. They had no choice. This was not an invitation. It was a summons. "Welcome to Earth," Taeyang said. His tone was polite but cold. "We are here to discuss the future of the Galactic Council, or rather to discuss if there will be a Galactic Council." Murmurs ran through the assembled aliens. Some looked defiant. Most looked nervous. All of them knew they were here because humanity allowed it. Ambassador Zhuan activated the display screens. Files appeared. Thousands of files. Documents spanning 3 centuries. "This is the complete record of humanity's interaction with the Council," she said. "Every meeting, every treaty, every agreement, and every violation." The files scrolled past. Treaty after treaty, broken by Council species. Trade agreements ignored. Promises forgotten. Human citizens arrested on false charges. Technology stolen. Resources seized. Each incident documented with dates, names, evidence. 347 major incidents, V1 continued. 10,612 minor violations. All documented. All preserved. All ignored by Council justice systems. She paused at one file. It expanded on the screens. A medical report. A small body. A blue dress with white flowers stained red. Miran, age 8. Killed by Commander Vex during occupation operations on Hanseon Colony. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Council ruling, acceptable casualty. No charges filed. No punishment issued. The chamber was silent. "That was the moment," Taeyang said quietly. "That was when humanity's patience broke. Not because of the death itself, though that was unforgivable, but because the Council called it acceptable. Because you have a system that considers the death of children acceptable if the right species is responsible." He let that sink in. That system ends today. Counselor Vroth stood. He looked older somehow, smaller. What do you want from us, President? Justice, Taeyang said simply. Real justice. Not your version where the strong face no consequences. Director Kyungmin stepped forward. She carried a data pad. We have compiled a list of individuals responsible for crimes against humanity. War crimes, theft, assault, murder. The list contains 643 names across 37 species. She projected the list. Names appeared on the screens. Military commanders, government officials, corporate executives, all of them with detailed charges. These individuals will stand trial, Kyungmin said, under a new judicial system, one that applies equally to all species, one that humanity will help establish. You cannot do this, a Vixorian delegate protested. You have no authority. We have the authority of power, Admiral Sun He interrupted. She had been standing quietly to the side. Now she walked to the center of the chamber. We have 3,000 warships. We have weapons platforms above every major world. We have technology you cannot match. That gives us authority. This is tyranny, the Vixorian insisted. No, Sun He said coldly. Tyranny is what you practiced for 3 centuries. This is justice. There is a difference. Colonel Young-sik entered the chamber. He was not supposed to be there. He was a military officer, not a diplomat. But he had insisted on coming. Taeyang had allowed it. Young-sik walked directly to the Catharian delegation. Commander Thex was there, under guard. Human guards. He stood in chains. This is Thex, Young-sik said to the assembled delegates. He killed Miren. He killed her and called it acceptable. He will be the first to face trial. Thex looked defiant. I followed orders. I followed council protocols. You cannot punish me for... We can and we will, Young-sik said. Because those protocols are wrong. Because following orders does not absolve you of killing children. Because justice demands accountability. He turned to face all the delegates. Every one of you has someone like Thex in your history. Someone who committed crimes against humans and faced no consequences. That ends now. They will all face trial. And if they are found guilty, they will be punished. Under what law? Quelix demanded. Council law is corrupt, Ju-won said flatly. We have documented that too. Your courts rule in favor of council species 97% of the time. Your justice system is designed to protect the powerful and punish the weak. We will not allow it to continue. She brought up another display. This is the proposed new judicial framework. Equal application of law to all species. Independent judges drawn from multiple civilizations. Public trials. Transparent procedures. Real consequences for crimes, and if we refuse? Vroth asked quietly. Taeyang's expression did not change. Then you refuse. But understand what that means. If you will not accept equal justice, then you admit your system is designed to oppress. And if you admit that, then humanity has no reason to cooperate with you. You would go to war over this? A delegate asked incredulously. We would separate from you over this, Taeyang corrected. We would withdraw from the council entirely. We would close our borders. No trade, no technology sharing, no cooperation. You would be on your own, he leaned forward. And then, if you tried to force us back, if you tried to occupy our worlds again, if you harmed our citizens, then yes. Then we would go to war. And we would win. The threat hung in the air. Everyone knew it was not a bluff. They had seen what humanity could do. The 30-hour operation that had reclaimed 12 colonies. The demonstrations above their homeworlds. The technology that outclassed everything they possessed. Governor Minsu was in the chamber too. He had been released from detention and flown to Earth for the proceedings. Now he stood and addressed the council. I am Governor Minsu Han of Hanseon Colony. I was imprisoned for speaking the truth, for saying that humanity would not accept injustice forever. Commander Thex threw me in a cell for that. He thought he could silence me. He walked to stand beside young Sikh. But you cannot silence truth. You cannot imprison justice. Miran's death was not acceptable. None of the deaths were acceptable. None of the thefts or insults or violations were acceptable. We tolerated them because we hoped for peace. We endured them because we believed in cooperation. His voice hardened. That hope is gone. That belief is dead. Now there is only one question. Will you accept real equality and real justice? Or will you face the consequences of refusing? Dr. Hyjin presented the technical evidence. Detailed analysis of every incident. Proof that Council species had stolen human technology repeatedly. Proof that they had sabotaged human research. Proof that they had actively worked to keep humanity weak and dependent. For 200 years you told us our technology was primitive, she said. You were right. It was primitive because you kept sabotaging our development. Every time we made a breakthrough, Council agents stole it or destroyed it. We have evidence of 47 separate incidents of industrial espionage and sabotage. She displayed the evidence. Files stolen. Researchers killed in suspicious accidents. Facilities destroyed by mysterious malfunctions. All of it traced back to Council operatives. So we adapted, Hyjin continued. We created secret research programs. We hid our real capabilities. We let you think we were primitive. And while you were congratulating yourselves on keeping us down, we surpassed you. She smiled coldly. By about 50 years, we estimate. Maybe more in some fields? We could have revealed this any time. We chose not to. We wanted to give you a chance to be better. You failed that test, Taeyang said. The negotiations took 3 days. Species argued. Some tried to defend the old system. Some genuinely seemed to understand that things had to change. A few threatened resistance. Those threats ended quickly when Admiral Sunhee showed them updated intelligence. Human ships positioned above their homeworlds. Weapons locked. All powered down, inactive, but present. A reminder, we could have destroyed you. We chose not to. Remember that mercy, on the 3rd day the vote came. 42 species. Each had to decide. Accept the new framework or face isolation. One by one, they voted to accept. Some did it grudgingly. Some did it fearfully. The Catharians, after seeing Vex in chains, voted quickly to comply. The Vexorians held out until the end, but ultimately capitulated. The vote was unanimous. The new framework was established. Equal justice under law. Real consequences for crimes? Independent tribunals? Transparent procedures. Everything the Council had lacked. Vex's trial was set for 2 weeks later. It would be the first under the new system. It would send a message to the galaxy. After the final vote, Taeyang spoke one more time. We did not want this, he said quietly. We wanted to be partners. We wanted to join you as equals. We tried for 300 years to earn your respect through patience and cooperation. You rejected that. He looked at each delegation in turn. So we took what you would not give. We forced you to recognize our equality. We forced you to accept justice. This could have been done peacefully, through mutual respect. Instead, it took a show of force. It took humanity demonstrating that we are not weak. That we never were weak. We were simply patient. Patience is not weakness, V1 added. It is a choice. And when that choice is no longer viable, we make different choices.